In the first tutorial video on the Syndea Jama interface, we demonstrated model transform of a requirement structure in Jama into an equivalent structure in SysML. In this video, we will look at the reverse use case, a requirement structure in SysML used to create the same structure in a Jama repository. And we will also demonstrate the compare and sync features, using Syndea to update the model across these connections. In this example, our UAV model has a 4-level requirements hierarchy. To receive it, we have created an empty component named UAV Sandbox 2 in Jama via its web interface. We launch Syndea, go to the Connection Manager tab, and select the Jama at Intercax repository connection. We expose the top-level SysML requirement on the left and the UAV Sandbox 2 component on the right, and set the connection type to Model Transform. Finally, we drag the Fire UAS specification from the SysML model onto the UAV Sandbox 2 and confirm. After a few moments, we have the requirements structure in Jama and a new set of connections in the Connection Summary tab. In this case, we have created a requirement set in Jama named UAV Requirements, the same as the package containing the Fire UAS specification, but now inside the UAV Sandbox 2 component. Alternatively, we could have dragged Fire UAS specification directly into the Syndea test project and created the set there. We will use these connections to support compare and sync. For our example, we will modify the requirements on the SysML side. We will edit the text in the fire detection requirement, and delete the real-time video requirement entirely from the model. In the connection browser, we will select the connection under Functional Requirements and select Compare and Sync. In the Result Comparison tab, we see two differences since the connections were created. If we hover over the last field, it reads SysML Fire Detection and Jama Requirement Fire Detection are connected, but one or more of their characteristics are out of sync. If we hover over the second, it says Jama Child Requirement Real-Time Video has no corresponding SysML child requirement. Note that we have only compared across a single connection to get this result. If we had selected Functional Requirements and not the connection under it, we compare across all 13 connections for functional requirements and the 12 other requirements it contains, its children and grandchildren. The diff table generated is larger and takes a little longer, but also shows all the specific differences, including the text difference in the fire detection requirements. Once a discrepancy between models is identified, we can resolve it using the sync feature. For this case, we will assume that the change in the SysML fire detection requirement is rejected, so we want to overwrite SysML from Jama by finding the specific fire detection connection in the connection browser, and choosing Sync Target to SysML. However, the deletion of the real-time video requirement is accepted. So we choose the functional requirements connection and sync SysML to target. Comparing across functional requirements and all its connections, we see the comparison results are all green. This section of the requirements model in Rhapsody and Jama has been fully harmonized. The same features are available when the changes are made from the Jama side. Of course, the ability to update implies that the user has write privileges to the sections of the Jama repository, or any Rhapsody configuration managed repository if used. Each engineering organization will want to determine their own change processes. The Syndea platform enables their choices. In the third video on the Syndea Jama interface, we will demonstrate some of the visualization features, especially valuable where requirements are part of a larger graph involving both intramodel and intermodel connections.